Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Tell people when they're trying to really get focused and productive to ignore the hey bros because they're low priority. Motivation, create your checklist, and then that's the formula, man.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. empty. What's yours for the taking tonight?
We got some big time energy up in here today. I'm not kidding you. Everything electrical around here, flickering and whatnot. Big energy. It's Veterans Day. That's why. Happy Monday to all of you. And especially happy Veterans Day to all of you. Not just the veterans, but the people who support them. Right? Families and so. Oh, wait. Gotta get my flag. Welcome. I'm excited. It's a great day. It's a great day. Primarily because we're here fulfilling one of the greatest promises available, that one that guarantees us that where two or more of us comes together. You guessed it, spiritual magic. Now that's the Bella Purpose. It's been here all 8 years, and it will continue to be here if I have anything to say about it. It's not a prop. No, it's not a show gimmick. It is, I refer to it as an opportunity. Seriously, because the truth, just like that bell, you guessed it, it has a ring to it. So we know you're busy doing 1,000 things, multitasking, whatnot, but don't ever be so busy that you miss the truth. So when you hear the bell, it means come running, lean in, tune in. There's something here we don't want you to miss. So today's a special show. It is indeed Veterans Day. And so I have brought in 5 of my favorite people. They're all veterans. One of them is not a veteran from any of the U.S. military factions, but from the Israeli army. Female, Lulu Lee is here. We've got Dr. Rob Garcia, Annette Witten. Oh, I don't know. Wait a minute. She has so many stage names. I'm going to wait because I might say the wrong one. But Annette's here. Sean Douglas, you all remember him? I know you do. And Chris Shivers is here. I couldn't pass it up. Listen, before we bring them in, I wanted to seriously just take a moment. I found a little short clip that I wanted to share. And just to get us in the right frame of mind, if you will. Okay, play. Ooh-wee. Man, I got chills from that. I really did. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Chris Shivers is back. He got dumped out. There he is. Welcome back, Chris. And I want to say this. Welcome to each of you, and thank you so much for your service. But my favorite part of what I saw there was when they said thank you for your sacrifice, because so many people don't realize how much sacrifice, how many birthdays, how many first steps and first tooth to come out, graduations, deaths of loved ones. The list goes on and on, weddings, all kinds of things, births of babies, your own in many cases, missed because of the sacrifices. But It was worth it. So good morning, veterans, and Chris, where did you get your internet? The dollar store?
No, I'm even hooked up, not even on Wi-Fi.
I'm just kidding. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I took a picture. I was gonna put it up on the screen. Trying to break last Monday's record, but we've already done it. We had 1,114 of you last week, and we were trying to break it, but I didn't have to even say anything. We're at 1357. Share this out right now, won't you please? This is going to be a hot one today. All of you share it out and bless in the manner in which you want to be blessed. So really quickly, I want to say good morning again and go around and introduce yourself. If you could take about a minute or less and name, rank, and serial number. Not serial number, I'm just kidding. But name and rank. And then I also want to know when you served. Okay, what decade or what time period, how many years or months. And some of us here retired. Some did a couple of tours of duty, and then some of us got kicked out. I'm kidding. Not that I know. I know all of those I tried to get. Now, for some reason, they didn't want to show up. I don't know. Well, let's start with you, Dr. Rob Garcia, known around the world, especially in the veteran circle, for doing great things, Shift Magazine, and much, much more. How you doing today, Rob?
Really good, Lauren. Thank you for inviting me on this very special day. I've been in, this next year is going to be 25 years. I'm still a serving reservist. I'm a master sergeant, did 5 years active, 20 in the reserves, serial entrepreneur in San Diego. It's great to be with you guys.
Thank you. Short and sweet. See? Annette. So wait, did you tell us what branch?
Air Force.
Okay, I know you didn't say. Oh, you. Ooh, two of us in here. Okay, I think. Who else? Oh yeah. So, and I didn't even. That had nothing to do with all the people I invited. Anybody in here feeling picked on already? You might. Before it's all said. Annette Wittenberger.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I am Army retired in 2016. I am also a serial entrepreneur. It just depends on what I want to do that year. And I'm coming out of Central Texas right now.
How long were you in?
I was in for 17 years, 4 months. We'll talk about that later.
17 years, 4 months. Okay. And Rob, you're master sergeant. What rank were you when you came out?
Oh, a major.
A major. So you were commissioned.
I was, yes.
Okay. Right. As far as you didn't snap that, right? I'm getting lazy with your salute. Don't make me pull a 341. Who remembers those? Huh? I do, because I almost
have one in my pocket.
What?
I think I have one in my pocket. Chris is like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
There's these little slips that you get in trouble when you get written up. And I couldn't.
Well, that sounds like an Air Force thing if I've ever heard it.
It really was. I'm not kidding. Saluting under the overhang, not reporting. Everything I could do wrong, I did wrong, but I got it together finally. Let's go down.
Did you not get a steak dinner at the Chow Hall if you got in trouble? Is that how it worked?
No, I was restricted to base on the day when they left and went out in San Antonio. I had to stay in the dorm for falling asleep on dorm guard duty.
341s are used in basic training, Chris.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's when they're
It's used for us drill instructors because we can't smack children.
That's right. I forgot you did that, Sean.
Mm.
Something I forgot to tell you, Sean. Bye-bye. So I'm kidding. He's there. He can stay. I was going to say that for the Army people, but I won't. So Lulu, the only veteran here who is not a veteran of a U.S. military section or sanction. You are from
Israel, the IDF, Israel Defense Forces.
Okay. Now, when were you in? How long are you in? And what was your
rank? I served for 2 years. It's pretty different for us in Israel, and we'll probably get more into that later. But it's mandatory for all of us. Women do between a year and 8 months to 2 years before reserve, and men do 3 years. So I did my full service of, back then it was 1 year and 8 months. I served from 97 to 98, so about 26 years ago. I was part of the intelligence corps of the IDF, of the Army. I think in Israel.
26 years ago.
26 years ago.
So you went in the military in Israel when you were 6?
Yes, sir. Hey.
Oh,
Thank
we made
you.
a start. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. And Chris Shivers.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 92 to 96. So I was a Cold War Marine. Got out as a terminal lance. And so any of the Marines will know what that means. So I enjoyed it. I mean, it was definitely a big part of my life and a big part of kind of who defines me now. And I currently own a business that my wife and I run here in Dallas, Texas now.
Yes, Big Spoon Grilling or something like that,
That's
right?
it. That's it.
They clean grill. I wish you could bring it up here and clean mine. I just
Right.
throw the racks out every year because they're beyond help. But anyway, thank you for being here. And turn your head. Can you see it? Turn your head. I want to see your profile real quick, Chris. See how it's shaped like a jar? See that? See that? So that's why they got that name right there. Big old mason jar. I'm just kidding.
Hey, in my defense, I was in the air wings. So I like to say I was in the smart part of the Marine Corps. I actually had to have a decent ASVAB score to do my job. So,
you know, that's so funny about like with Air Force. That's when people hear you and they're, ooh, like, you know, you had to be smart. I don't know. I must have snuck through. I must have. But, and I was in procurement. That was my job. So I just loved it. What about you, Sean Douglas, the Success Corps?
Hey, brother, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I joined right after 9/11, and I retired in 2021 after 20 years and 4 days. I started off as a F-15 crew chief, and then I transferred over to security forces, and then got a special duty assignment as a crash recovery, body recovery for shot down, crashed airplanes and pilots. Did that, and also worked in depot on 16s, A-10s, and 22s. Became a drill instructor from 09 to 13, and then finished out my career as an F-15 crew chief and inspector. Yeah, that's it. And I built multiple businesses while serving in the military. And currently, right now, I'm a 3-time TEDx speaker, podcaster, author, and full-time speaker. And I live in Michigan.
You live in Michigan, and I guess I'll just put it on out there. By the way, Chris has been nominated for Porn Stash of the Year. Get it? Porn Stash?
Chris? Have you?
I mean, Sean.
Oh,
you.
Oh, I was like,
Chris. No,
what are we
Chris
doing?
said maybe, but not Porn Stash. That is quite the porn stash you got going there, by the way. Is that a Michigan thing, or is that a? Oh, look at your hat. Show your hat. Nice. Oh, with the retired on it. Wow. Anybody here? This is a question for everybody. Anybody here service connected in any way?
I'm 80%.
See, he had braggart. So what? I'm 70. I'm kidding. I'm getting there. I got some stuff up there. I've been waiting 2 years up in Washington. They so slow. I don't get, but I'm gonna be patient.
Is anybody part of the 3M lawsuit?
What's that?
The earplugs.
I got the earplugs. So when I retired, they put me in for the 3M lawsuit, and we just got paid out. I got $16,000 that was awarded for the 3M faulty earplugs when I was in combat, and actually the lawyers took half, so I only got like $8,066.
Oh, poor you.
Not my point, but the point was a lot of people have heard, but they didn't they didn't know. So it was from 2005 to like 2009. If you were in combat or in country or whatever, you were part of the lawsuit. So
see, this is one of the things, and I'm glad. Thank you for that, because it really it opens up the door to one of the questions or statements that I want to make, and see how you guys feel about it. So many things. When you call the VA, you'll hear things on there like, if you were part of the burn pit, or what's that other place?
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune with the water.
There's one more, Chris. There's one more, Chris.
Yeah, El Toro was real bad too.
Nope, not that one. It's where you guys go for certain trainings, like maybe it's like MP training or something. I can't remember which one it was, but my brother-in-law was stationed there, and it's where you go after boot camp, right? Like
Oh,
in
okay.
Paris
Yeah,
Island.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they're real bad, and there's a lawsuit with them too because they had buried a bunch of toxic sludge, whatever, like in the
That's
ground,
my
and then
point.
it got into the water supply, and like vets are like jacked up, man. They're like
Yeah.
really bad.
So
Yeah.
the reason I bring that up, you guys, is to bring the audience in on some of the reasons I love when people say sacrifice. Because oftentimes we know what's in front of us, but many times we have no idea what's around us. And it's not just the enemy or something like that. It's things that right here, stateside, and all kinds of different things. A lot of people, when they think about people that have been in the military, they go to two or three places: PTSD, the suicide thing, the go-tos. But there's all these other things as well. So I want to start with this because I'm going somewhere with it, believe it or not. And this, Lulu, don't worry, we got you too. I want each person. We'll start with you, Lulu. You said it was it mandatory? So
Yeah.
your why was I didn't get a choice, right? So
Kinda.
what happens if you say no? I don't believe in war, and I'm not going. What would have happened?
You go to jail, but
Oh,
yeah, but
is that
not
all?
really. Nobody really says no. That's the difference, I think, between our country and many other different countries. It's mandatory because we are surrounded by enemies, as you can see right now with what's going on in the Middle. We're the only democracy in the Middle East, so since forever we've been, you know, tried to be destroyed
Yeah,
for other agendas. So we want to protect our country. We do it with everything that's in our heart. You know, we die for our land with pride, and we serve in the in the army with pride. Even now, when the war broke in October 7th, it was amazing to see how everybody, no matter where they were in the world, they came back. Like usually when a war starts, everybody just tries to run away out of the country. With us, it's the opposite. Everybody came back. There was an article about Taylor Swift's bodyguard that left her in the middle of the Eras tour to go back to Israel to serve because we don't care what it is. We're going to go and defend our country and defend our land. So it's mandatory because we have to, but at the same time, we do it because we want to. So it's not like when you reach 18, it's like, oh my God, I have to serve. Everybody's like, let's
yeah,
go, I'm ready,
right. And here's the thing too that I found very interesting because Lulu actually coaches with me, as does Chris. And so I've a few different times on our sessions, you're monitoring that channel or whatever that you can watch things that are happening over there. Remember the day you showed me one at an intersection, the guy got out with the machine gun and just made the people get out of the car, just like they were coming from the grocery store, just minding their business. And so what's it like for you, Lulu, to be here where it's safe and it's free? Thanks to people like the ones on the screen and all the veterans, past, present, as well as the ones in the future. Got to acknowledge them; they're on the way. How does it make you feel when you're here and you're watching that? Because you have loved ones, I'm assuming, still over there and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so, real
It's
quick,
very hard, actually. I just like I just said, like everyone else, I just wanted to pack my stuff and go back. But I do have children, small children, so it wasn't really something I was able to do. So you constantly watch, you try to do what you can. For me, it's my social media platform. It's this pin that never comes off of me that symbolizes our, kidnapped innocent kidnapped people that are still there, over 100 people. So it's hard to be far when your people are going through that and your land is going through it. But at the same time, I'm grateful for having the opportunity to be in somewhat of a safe space and talk to people and bring awareness, because there's a lot of hate and a lot of lies and people don't really know what we're about. So I get the opportunity to actually speak and bring awareness of what the IDF is and how we really are the most moral army in the world. And even the United States Army says that all the time. People speak about it, how we try to minimize casualties, how precise our hits are always because of our high intelligence. So it's hard, but I'm proud, and it's not really safe for anybody right now anywhere, honestly, especially as a Jew, as an Israeli. Walking down the street is not the safest, but I'm grateful for this country, and I'm grateful for everyone who serves the army in this country and fought, even in past wars that involved my country, so Gulf War, I was 13, but I saw soldiers walking around in Israel. I met soldiers, American soldiers. So I always have a, warm spot for anybody who serves here in the States or in Israel. It's a beautiful thing, and I honor each and every one of you here in this
Thank you.
panel and everywhere.
Thank you, Lulu. Thank you. And thank you for being here, kind of the odd girl out. But representation is representation. And I prefer to speak to the things that are similar.
Just a quick statement, Lauren.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Israel and South Korea both have mandatory military service, and I feel like it makes for a better populace because they learn a lot more national pride, and I feel like they're in better physical shape just because of it. Look how fat American teenagers are. But it's definitely a different type of society when you have people that everyone has had the military experience, for sure. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything about
that? We grow up real quick. Let's just say that.
Oh, I'm sure. I want to ask this. You told us, Lulu, the question is to the other four, and I'll chime in too. Oh, my angel number 1440 is on screen. I have to take a picture. ADHD, sorry. Dang it changed. What was your why then? And if you were that person today, do you think you would knowing what you know today, would you do it all over again? Start with you, Rob. What was your why back then, and would you do it again today?
My why at the time was out of life desperation. I was sleeping on the floor. I'd failed out of high school, failed out of 2 colleges. I couldn't afford meat, and I had nowhere to go. And so I just joined the Air Force because a friend of mine had done it and done pretty well in life. And would I do it again? Absolutely. I've had a very strange career. I've tried for officer school 4 times, got in once. I got 6 degrees, and it worked out exactly as it should have. My life is really good right now, but it took a long time in the making. But absolutely, I would do it again.
Yeah. I feel the same way. And kind of just to piggyback off of what Rob said, I kind of got tricked. Seriously. I was in college, Bethel College in Mishawaka, Indiana, in the dorms, minding my business, and went to visit my sister in a neighboring town, and she was late getting home. She goes, I'm going to be about 2 hours late. Go to the mall or something. So instead, I was going to go see a movie, and there was nothing playing at the time, but I went there. I was at the theater. I looked across the street, and there was a sign in the window. Watch a free video. Aim high. I was like, ooh, let me go watch this free video. 3 days later, I was in the MEP station in Indianapolis with my hand in the air. So there it is. Thank you, recruiter. But again, best decision I ever made. I would do it all over again. I would definitely do it all over again. It is the one thing, no matter where my journey has taken me, because I've been living on the streets since then. But there was always that thing inside me, that pride of service that always encouraged me. You're going to make it out of this too. And I did. So best decision ever. Annette, what was your why? And would you do it again today?
I actually had a friend out of high school, and I went to an all-girl Catholic high school, so it was not the norm. So when she enlisted, I was like, man, she's a badass. I had the recruiter at my house. I'm about to sign the papers, but I chickened out. And a few years later, I decided to do ROTC out of Arizona State University because I was like, I'm just going to try it out. And I tried it out for 17 years. And so I don't regret it. I'm a different person now. I've grown a lot. So I would do it again. I'm actually thinking about doing it again. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We'll see.
Wow. I'm not surprised. I had a guest a couple of weeks ago who went back in the Navy after like 20 some years. She went back in. I didn't even know you could do that. But you can.
You can.
Okay. You would do it again. Let me just say, I'm a little surprised because I know a little of your story. And I know you had to fight. It's different for women as it is in most places. And I know it was a rough time, but so what makes you say you would do it again, Annette, before we go over to Sean and Chris?
I'm different. There's changes that need to be made, and I how do I put this? Let's see. I just got divorced, and my fuel is a fuel to continue to do what I want to do is different now. So yeah.
Okay.
So it's a different life change. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more to that. I can tell she's like, I don't want to drop that nugget. But,
I can be here all day.
yes, I feel you. Sean, what about you? What was your why? Why'd you go in and would you do it again today?
Yeah. So I was actually in Port Huron, Michigan, working at Discount Tire as a warehouse manager at 18. And I ended up graduating when I was 17. And within, what was that, 2001? So May I graduated. So come September, I was living with my mom. I think I graduated with like a 1.9, like D student, didn't care about school, didn't really have any purpose. I just figured like, I like the job. I'll just do that and drive back and forth, to work every day. And then when 9/11 happened, my dad was serving at the time, in the Air Force, and then went International Guard. Both of my grandfathers were in the Korean War. My brother-in-law was serving in the Marine Corps. He worked PMO, Chris. And I was like, this is my moment. This is my dare to be great moment. Like, I'm literally doing nothing with my life. And so I quit. I took off my shirt right there, handed it to the boss, and I said, I'm out. I drove to the recruiter station to, down the street, and I enlisted. And then I left like a month and a half later, something like that. And yeah, definitely was one of the best decisions of my life. And I tried to get out a bunch of times, actually. I was like, I'm so sick of this. I'm sick of the bureaucracy and like, all the crappy leaders that come,
Yeah.
And everybody always told me like, man, you got to stay in. Like, you can't, you got to stay. I almost left in 2006. I almost left again in 2013. And then I was like, oh, this is so stupid. I want to leave. And then, after like 15 years, you're like, crap, I can't leave. And I'm so glad I retired because now you get, the military retirement pay and disability and all that other stuff. So best decision. Absolutely. And I made a point to do a lot of jobs that were available to me, while serving, so I could get all of the experience everywhere. Even when we were deployed and they're like, who wants to forward deploy? I'm like, where are we going? Sure, let's go.
Yeah.
So I just tried to go everywhere and do everything.
Great. And you would do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Best job I ever had was being a drill instructor, though, for sure.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it was so good. That was
so anyway. I have a trigger thing with drill instructor. I'm kidding. Only because my rhythm was a little off back then, but I got it together now. I got it together now. Hot, 3, 4. Hot, 3, 4. Your left. Right. Thank God they said your left because I was like, oh, that one. And then change step. That kind of helped put things back in place.
Yeah. Military left.
Yes. Now, Chris, why'd you go in and would you do it again? You're muted. You're muted, and that's why you weren't in the Air Force.
Try that again. Right. I mean, I was a horrible student. I had plenty of trauma before I ever reached the Marine Corps. My dad was Navy. He had gotten, I didn't realize this till just a couple of years ago. He had figured out when his draft was coming up and when his number was coming up to get drafted in the Army. And he went and joined the Navy 2 days before he got his draft notice for the Army. And so, but he was inshore Vietnam. So he was on a base where the Brownwater Navy operated out of, where they were running the swift boats up and down. I think I go back 6 generations on my mom's side of veterans that have served, but it wasn't a big, we weren't a big military family. My dad never talked about his service. And then I don't know if any of you guys had military members when Platoon came out. It kind of reignited all this stuff in him. I actually just got him to go to the VA about a year and a half ago and get disability for the things that he had seen and the things he had experienced. But I was a horrible student. And the only way for a young man to outdo his Navy dad was to join the Marine Corps. That was the only way for me to kind of one up him. And I distinctly remember when I came home and told him, he was watching the Texas Rangers in the bedroom. And I said, I'm going in the Marine Corps. And he said, those guys are going to break you down. He had spent some time at like a SEER school with the Marine Corps when he had gone inshore. And he's like, those guys are not normal. Like, they're going to break you down. And he's like, they'll build you up. And I didn't understand at the time what he meant. Honestly, I didn't really understand what he meant till a few years ago, till I kind of started healing. But yeah, I think I would do it again. And I think, and I have to remember who I was at 19 years old, because the me now, I probably wouldn't, but the guy then, absolutely. I mean, anytime there was anything, and like I said earlier, I was a, peacetime Marine, but anytime anything flared up, we were all, at the gunny's office asking if we could go, asking if we could serve. We wanted to serve, and we wanted to go where it was hot. Even though we were way back behind, with the gear. But yeah, absolutely. I think it defines me as far as my discipline. I think I have an ability to turn things on and push through. That I never would have had, because I never finished anything. I never was a finisher up until that point. And it wasn't really till I made it through boot camp and said, okay. And most nights it was simply because I didn't want to go home and tell my dad that I hadn't made it, so I learned that resolve in the Marine Corps. And then I also learned how to put up with a lot of crap from, like Sean said, kind of poor leaders. And so it helped me in corporate America when I went out and became a civilian again.
Oh, and this is where we get to introduce for the first time today our version of the Academy Awards wrap-up music. So when you hear that, it means your time is up. Thank you for allowing us to bring that in, Chris. Chris, one last thing. You said you were in how long?
4 years, just 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. So the typical Marine, is it you could do 2 or 4?
You can do 4 or 6 usually, depending on your MOS.
Okay.
My MOS was my schooling was almost a year long. So I didn't even hit the fleet till I had been in almost a full year, which is really, really rare for the Marine Corps.
Nice. Well, for some. Now, I want to go here. 4 letters, by a show of hands. How many of us on the screen truly believe that we are still today living with some form of PTSD as a direct result of our experience in the military? Show of hands. Okay, all but 2. One of them I know is just in denial. Rob Garcia. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So this is a tough one. Oh, okay. Here's what I want to put out there. How many of you? What's that, Lulu?
No, I just wanted to say I don't have PTSD from my service, but I do have PTSD from living in my country. That is definitely. But my service was not. I didn't do anything that contributed to the PTSD, but it was something that I realized after my service that was kind of sitting within me for years, just because I'm living in terror my whole life and growing up with that environment.
That's an interesting observation. Just I never thought of it like that. I would have never, but thank you for that. That's a whole show in and of itself. Now, my question to each of you, and I'm going to go around the group. I'll start. Is if you were to have the opportunity, excuse me, to sit in a recruiter's seat for 24 hours, what would the one thing be that you would tell the person sitting across from you, considering enlisting, that nobody told you? I'll say this. My thing is, I would say to the person, well, you know, the majority or the percentile, I'd have the figures of people that come out after 4 years, 8 years, or whatever it may be, come out with this amount of PTSD on an average. No one ever mentioned that to me. I did not know it was a possibility. And I'll just say this. My PTSD did not come. It was Desert Storm time, but I was stateside. I'd stayed on the same base, wearing my blues every day. But my PTSD came because, which is why I'm 70%. This was in the 80s. Don't ask, don't tell. Clearly, I'm a gay man. Someone took a picture of my car in the parking lot of a gay bar.
Oh,
I nearly was put out because of that. They didn't even know if I was driving it or if I had loaned it to somebody. There was no picture of me and all this stuff. And I was locked in a cell for 72 hours and then locked in a room, not my dorm room, but another officer's quarters room with my meals brought to me for 30 days until they decided what they were going to do. And then let me out and go about your business like nothing happened. And I found out 37 years later, oh, you most likely qualify for service connection because of what happened to you in the 80s. I had no idea. I'd been homeless because of all that. So I'm just going to say, I would at least bring it in. Do you understand what PTSD is? Because chances are you could walk away with this too and not just a pension. So that's what I would put in. Rob, what about you? You want Rob Garcia? You're on a call? This guy. We'll come back to you. You're muted too. You sure you were in there for? I'm just kidding. Chris, was that your bunkie?
yeah, right.
We'll come back to you. Lulu, what would you tell somebody, a young person, even if it were here in the United States, just anywhere, about going into service? Any warnings? Then Rob will come back to you.
I think probably just to have the profound understanding that they will never come out the way they walk in, and understanding that really their life is going to be changed in one way or another. They're going to change. They're going to grow in many different ways. They're going to experience and see things that they might not would have wanted to see or would have seen in any other environment, but it's their choice. If they want to step outside of their day-to-day and actually decide to, decide to see something different or see themselves in a different way, then to go for it. If comfort zone is enough for them and, they are complacent with life, then don't even try it. Or at the same time, actually do try it because you want to get out of your comfort zone. But just definitely the idea and the understanding that you're not coming out the way you walked in,
Right.
for better or worse. I think it's for better, but just to let them know that it can be either way, because some people came out hating their experience.
True. Who said something about eating crayons?
That's the Marine Corps. Yeah.
Oh, someone said, and you guys see all these Facebook user things. Facebook, it's on the StreamYard that something's going on where everything shows up as Facebook user. So it's not like we don't want to know your name.
Right.
So what's this
unmute, Lauren? So I'm good to go.
You're on mute. I thought you told me to unmute.
Yeah,
and then I looked like, God, no. Okay, Rob.
Yeah. So basically, I would sit down with somebody, and especially if they're a female, I would just be really honest with them. I'd be like, okay, the rates of sexual abuse and weird shit is far higher in the military than the private sector. First of all, there's danger depending on your job and branch of service. Obviously, Marines and Army, I feel, are the most put in harm's way, the most, because they train for it. But then again, that's the downside, potential downside. But the upside You have the best educational benefits in history. You have the ability to buy a house, zero down. You have the ability to claim disability. You have the ability to get like benefits, shop on base the rest of your life. I mean, there's the military really does set you up in a lot of great ways. I mean, my dental is $11 a month as a reservist right now, which is incredible.
That is incredible. Did I miss anybody on this thing about Annette? Oh yeah, the whole bottom row. Start with you, Annette.
For me, I would definitely tell them to use their voice. You guys all watch the news. There's so many different things happening within the armed forces, and I think one of the things is being afraid to say anything, especially as a female, even a male. There's things going on with that too. Maybe because I'm closer to Fort Hood, where a lot of stuff has happened. Using your voice, and never let them break your spirit. You go in there and they try to get you. It's a mind game. It's a huge mind game. And when you're young and you're going in, you're just trying to figure out the world, and you're traveling and all that, and deploy. It's just it just breaks you. It really, truly breaks you. And you don't know how to fix it because no one talks about how to fix it. You drive on. And so using your voice, and it's hard. It's hard, but I wish of course, there's a lot of things I wish I would have done, but overall, I don't, I don't regret it. I would just remind them that you have a voice, use it. Don't let them break you down.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. Rob Garcia out there putting stuff in the chat said, what are they doing in the parking lot of a game? I asked that same question, and they said, I was driving by at 2 in the morning, right? Because we were coming out. So that's how we knew it was 2 in the morning. And yeah. Anyway, Chris, and then we'll wrap that question up with Sean. What would you tell someone sitting across the desk from you?
Yeah, so I've actually thought about this before. I think I would go back to if you look at the way Marines are and the pride that we have in service and the ability we have to be brothers. And there's a reason why every Marine wears Marine Corps swag and has a sticker on their car and all those things. And it comes back to one thing in my mind, and that's shared trauma. And I think you mentioned the PTSD. I think we get in this habit of, especially as veterans, that my PTSD isn't as severe as a guy that went to war or that saw the horrors of war. And that's not true. Your PTSD and your trauma is your trauma, and it doesn't have a gauge, and it can't be compared to someone else. And so I'm also openly queer. And so I served in a time of don't ask, don't tell. And so that definitely played a part. But even something as sounds silly, I was always, Marine Corps has really stringent height weight requirements. And so I was always right on the cusp of being overweight. And so every Monday, my gunny would come in and ask, well, what'd you eat this weekend? What's your weight at right now? And I mean, that stuff got embedded in me, gave me a warped sense of myself and kind of my body image. And it's played out even today. So, I mean, I would definitely, I would just tell them you're going to have some great experiences, and you're going to build these these great friendships and this brotherhood. But it's going to come like anything. It's going to come at a cost. And that cost is typically some type of shared trauma that you're going to have with these people.
Yes. Sean.
Yeah, I would say 2 things. One, quickly, do not go into open general. So I used to ask that question when I was a drill instructor, like, who's going in open general? And a handful of people raise their hands, and I'm like, welcome to security force.
Explain to the audience what that means, if you could.
So when you go in open general, that means that you don't have a guaranteed job, you have no contract, you have no nothing. They're going to do that while you're in basic training, and they're just going to fill open slots wherever they come. Right. So you could be, and your ASVAB score maybe wasn't great, but open general was just some recruiters quota numbers, padding his quota numbers. He just wanted to get people into the military. So my dad sat with me and he says, what job do you want? Whatever. So he told the recruiter, he's like, this is what he's going in as. This is his bonus. So I got a $6,000 signing bonus, signed for 6 years as an F-15. Well, as a tactical crew chief. I was a tactical aircraft maintenance specialist. So I already knew I was going to be a fighter crew chief. I already knew how many years I was going. I already knew that I was getting a $6,000 signing bonus. I exactly knew what I was getting myself into. People who come in open general, they're like, oh, here's your $1,000 sign-on bonus. Some people didn't even get one. And then you get shoved into like services. So you're a cook, or you get security forces, or you get some job that nobody wants.
Right.
And so it's awful. Like being in open general, you don't know where your tech school is. You don't know where you're going. Like you don't find anything out until the end of basic training. The second thing I would say is that the military industrial complex will chew you up, spit you out, and come back for seconds. Because I was there in 2013 when 36 drill instructors went to prison for sexual abuse, for rape, for sodomy, for all those things that happened at Lackland Air Force Base. I was there. And most of those people I knew and I served alongside with and I trained with. 2 of them were my students and went to a different squadron and got caught up in all of the senior leadership's crap with pimping out the trainees and prostituting them and like all the things that happened to them.
Wow.
And nobody knew anything. So
straight up trafficking.
So they were trafficking trainees to other people, to other drill instructors and other active duty people on base.
Oh,
yeah.
And there's no matter where you go in life, there's gonna be something that somebody's gonna try to do to fuck it up.
So I would say,
what I'm saying?
exactly. I would say exactly that. Yep.
Yeah.
So the big thing is there's toxic masculinity, but there's also toxic femininity. So there's male and female leaders who try to exert themselves, and they're narcissistic and they're horrible leaders. So just bite your tongue, bite the bullet, and just go along because they're not always going to be there.
Yeah, and I do want to say, because thank you, Rob, for bringing up the open general thing, because my nephew did that, and he's never been the same. He was stationed. He was at Guantanamo Bay, and when he came home for 3 or 4 years, we thought we were going to lose him. He spent more time in the VA behavioral sciences, in restraints than he did at home. And it took about 10, 15 years for him to start moving back into a semblance of the boy we once knew. And I just have never gotten over that. So you're absolutely right. Sometimes it's true. Things we see, we cannot unsee. Things that we hear, we cannot unhear. Last question as we wrap up this Veterans Day roundtable discussion. I want to ask each of you, if you could, take a moment. We have about 4 minutes. Take a moment, if you would, and just share with the audience, share with all of us, how you feel your experience in the military has made you the person you are today. What is the biggest piece that you can say that you have gained from your experience in the military? We'll start with you, Lulu.
Thank you. Well, first of all, because I'm listening to you guys, and again, because we're different military, different countries, for us, it's very different. We don't do like years and then stop, or we're not able to build different careers like Chris were talking about while we serve. When we serve, we serve. If you build a career in the army, then when you get out, you can get a different life. And with women too, it's very different because we involve women in every part of it. Like even now, there were our first 3 battle navigators that flew battle airplanes in the war in our attack on Iran. We have women in tanks. I was actually the only, which brings me back to your question. I'm the only woman in the Israeli army to ever did what I did. No women did it before me, no women after me. I broke a glass ceiling. It was in the intelligence corps. It's a little hard to explain exactly my position, but I did something I never thought I would do. And I asked when I was recruited to do something that I'll never get the chance to do in civil life, because I'm not giving you 2 years to be in an office. Used me well, and they did. And it made me the person who I am today, because it made me believe that I can do more than what I put my mind to. I can fight, for my right. Like our beautiful other panelists say, you speak up. And when you say what you want, then, I was the only woman, just men, and they expected me to make their coffee or to do things like that.
But you also have to remember, you guys, she's not telling this part, but she was extremely unattractive back then. She didn't always look like this. I'm kidding.
I did not.
But I'm saying that's a real piece. You're the only woman, and you're a gorgeous woman. And this was how many years ago?
26 years.
Okay, y'all do the math. So, but you chose and you grew through it.
Absolutely. And I proved to myself that I can do much more. I proved to myself that I can fight, even if the voices are ranks higher than me, if I don't feel like it's what's right, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say what, and I was threatened with jail time and I was threatened with many different things and I didn't compromise my truth. And I won time and time again. So it led me to live in my truth and to always know that I can do anything I put my mind to. And I'm very grateful for my service and in general for the IDF that, supports us and give us the opportunity to see ourselves doing bigger for ourselves and for our country.
And for our country. Thank you for that. Beautifully said. Annette.
There we go. Oh, that's a tough one because there are times where I just didn't think I can make it. And I don't see myself the same way as other people do. But there was when I see my two children that are 21 and 24, they remind me, and I'm going to share this because I asked my daughter, I did a workshop a few weeks ago, and I asked my daughter, what are the 5 words you would use to describe me? And it was very, I don't know. It took me back. So she says, this is what my son says. I'm a badass. I love him. My daughter says that I'm tenacious, attentive, energetic, caring, and courageous. That for me is a huge deal for me because we don't know what our kids see. We raise them to try to be the best versions of themselves, the best humans and all that. And there's times where I thought I failed as a parent. I felt like a failure because I had to retire early, all these things. But then you look at them and you realize I did something right. And with those words that she used to describe me, it just hit me in my whole soul. And then with my son, going through a very difficult divorce, he said, I would not be a badass if it wasn't for you. And so those are the things that I didn't realize coming from them as I grew through the military and after. And so that's what I would say is those are the things they see that I didn't see.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Sean. Oh, I need to run these banners. Sean.
Yeah. There's been a few kind of defining moments of my career, I would say, so 2008 was a pretty bad year. We came off one of the worst deployments in really in any branch. It was right after Fallujah and, all the stuff. And I was in Kandahar. So that was a really bad deployment. But coming home and in our service or what we thought was if I go to a helping agency like Life Skills or mental health, if I go to a helping agency, it's going to impact my career. I'll lose my clearance. So we just bottle things in or whatever. And that's a lot of people did that. So that was probably one of the worst things I did, was not go seek help because we're under the impression that, well, if you go seek help, you lose your clearance. You won't be on PRPD anymore, which is your nuke clearance. So 2008 was my suicidal ideation, that year. And it was just like, I felt the worst that I've ever felt in my life. No self-worth, no self-love, like you just feel like you're nothing. You're nobody likes you. You're zero. It's like the worst part of you, is all you see and what everybody else sees, so showing up to work drunk, being charged with an Article 112 of the UCMJ, You know,
A
that
lot.
sucked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because, for balance, it takes both sides of the aisle. It takes both sides. And you're not alone. So many of us have
that's the
something
message.
similar. Yes,
You're not alone.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Let's go to Chris, and then Rob, you can take us out. Chris?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just the discipline and knowing that I can always lean back into that discipline that I had in the Marine Corps. When I got out, I'm not proud to say this, but I was almost, I think 5 years after I was out, I was almost 400 pounds. Like a lot of veterans, I just packed on weight. I said I wasn't going to, PT again. I wasn't going to do any of those things. And then 2009, I lost almost 200 pounds, ran the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C., kind of took my life back. I'm a big mind-body alignment guy, mind, body, spirit. And so I think that's hard to do, especially when you're being taught daily that pain is weakness leaving the body. We push through these things. We just, put our heads down and go. And so it was finding the balance between those things. But I think I'll always be proud of the discipline that I have, the ability that I have to kind of flip that switch. And when things really need to get done, I'm able to get them done. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. And then wrapping us up, Rob?
For me, the military gave me a sense of family that was missing in my childhood. It gave me structure and discipline. And there are people I served with in active duty in the 90s and early 2000s I'm still friends with today and very close to. So that's what it provided.
Thank you. Thank you. As we get out of here, I just want to say to everyone who's hearing it now or down the road through the replays, what is a veteran? What is a veteran? A veteran is someone who at one time or another made the conscious choice to put the welfare of their country above their own. And this quote captures the essence of a veteran's sacrifice and dedication to serving their nation, highlighting the personal choice to prioritize, and here's my favorite part, the greater good. So I want to thank everyone here today, and you're still pouring into everything around you in this world. And thank you for stepping up, stepping out, and staying up, not just for yourselves, but for the people that will never know your name, but live free because of it. So I just want to say thank you again. Get out there, continue doing what you're doing. I love all of you. You have each had a profound impact on my life, and I'm sure you're doing it with everyone around you. And now for all of you out there, thank you. Get out there today. I texted my father-in-law this morning because he doesn't like to talk about his time in Vietnam. So I get once a year, I get to text and say, Happy Veterans Day, Dad. Thank you for your sacrifice. And he always says, thank you. And thank you for yours as well. And that's all we need to say, is that we acknowledge each other and we see each other. Now get out there, find another higher piece of yourself. It takes one E and one R, and you can do it. You can take great to greater, bright to brighter, strong to stronger. And my personal favorite, kind to kinder. So be kind to yourself and to others. And now, as always, as you get out of here, do not slam my screen door. And remember, I tell you every day, and I absolutely mean it, Dr. Lauren loves you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You guys, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, veterans. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
thanks, Lauren.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you.